Hello everyone, welcome back to another Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer battle. This is going to be the Lizardmen versus the Empire. For my army, my front line consists of only just Source warriors with shields who are pretty tanky. They hit pretty hard, they can trade really well with a lot of what the front line of the Empire can bring. And then in the back line we have two Feral Bastillodons, which are also pretty heavy hitters, very high armored, and just pretty tanky units for very, very cheap. And also a group of elite Temple Guards to try and get into any of the large creatures that the Empire may be bringing. And our army is being led by the Lord Mazdamundi with actually most of the spells, including the banishment that you can get with him. We also have the Arcane Unforgiving, Apotheosis, Curse of the Midnight Wind, and the Net spell as well. So Mr. Lord Mazdamundi on top of his big ride here with his friends Earl and Carl. I don't know, I just made that up. Yeah, so we got Lord Mazdamundi. Then off to the side, we have one group of the Pterodon Riders, just the basic one with the poison damage. And then off in the Vanguard deployment, we also have two Chameleon Skinks, because Chameleon Skinks are one of the best units that the Lizards have, so it's always pretty much a safe bet to bring Chameleon Skinks. They're just really good. For the Empire, this is actually kind of an odd formation here. We have two Great Cannons in the front, along with two Handgunners. No units in front of them, but they can always just kind of pull the units forward. We also have two Spearmen, one on this flank, one on this flank, two Swordsmen, one right there, one right there. We also have a group of Sterling's Revenge, which I currently cannot see because Sterling's Revenge also has Stalk. And then in the back we have one Halberd, three Great Swords, and one Flagellant. And then they have two Empire Captains with nothing on them, which makes these really cheap. I think they're like 550? 580, something like that if you bring nothing on them. So very cheap kind of leadership buffing units that do, let's say, okay damage for the price, I guess. So we have two of those there, and then also Boris Topbringer. None of these are on a horse or a mount of any kind, which is not something you see normally. I guess maybe they were worried about me bringing some kind of anti-large. Possible, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, that is going to be their army. Yeah, that's their army, so let's get this going. So I'm going to try and rush their cannons, because their cannons are in the front line, along with their handgunners, but again, they can just pull their forces up. What they're actually going to be doing, though, is trying to intercept two of my units with these heroes, with the Empire Captains, which will work against the AI. I'll say that much. Over here, I'm going to stick my Pterodon Riders into these group of Outriders with grenade launchers. I think I forgot to mention that they may have had those. But the grenade launchers can do actually pretty well if they are allowed to fire into the source line. So I kind of need to just keep my Pterodon Riders on them, and I will be doing that. You can see my Feral Bastillodon has already been rampaged because the Great Cannons doing a lot of good damage to them. I'm going to drop a banishment here on the Sterling's Revenge because I now see them. So I'm like, oh, let's just try and kill them. Gonna do pretty good damage there very quickly, but it's gonna kind of bleed off because it doesn't really hit the rest of the unit. But yeah, I had to stick Lord Mazdamundi into the forest to try and block some of these Great Cannon shots because I do not want him to get hit. Two of our Source Warriors are actually gonna get caught on this Spearman, which is a bit of a mistake. We should only have one unit on the Spearman because it's a Spearman, and the Source Warrior just a single can take care of them. But anyway, unfortunately for the Empire, they're not gonna respond in time. So I'm actually gonna be able to get this Source Warrior into a Great Cannon. We're gonna get Mazdamundi. We're gonna try and get him past the Halberd unit. We don't want him to get stuck there. And what happened over here is that the Empire Captains, I think this player thought that I wasn't going to do the micromanaging needed to just get our Source Warriors past the Empire Captains. So the Empire Captains, against the AI, if you throw a hero into a unit, then the unit most likely would just sit there and just try and kill the hero. But all you really should do is just right-click past them. And I did. So we walked past the Empire Captains into more tempting targets like this second Great Cannon. This Flagellant I'm going to have to fight, though, at this point. They are in melee, so we need to do this. The grenade launchers are going to kind of be wasted here because I'm just going to chase them with my Pterodon Riders for a long time. Chameleon Skinks are finally starting to get in range. We're going to try and put them on the Sterling's Revenge. And this one I'm going to eventually wrap to try and start harassing the handgunners that are going to be going up here. Mazdamundi, I did drop a shield of the old ones, which is a little early because I ended up not actually fighting inside of it because I didn't want to fight around the Halberd. So we're just going to kind of go through their entire line and try and get into these handgunners because they are one of our biggest threats. You can see the heroes of the Empire, and I believe Boris is also on Mazdamundi, so I'm going to try and get Mazdamundi out of this pocket, which is pretty easy because he has a lot of mass on that mount of his, and the Empire can't really stop it if you keep trying to get away from them. So what we're going to do is throw in our Temple Guards to just try and hold everything here that is got around Mazdamundi, including the heroes and Boris Topbringer. So yeah, I'm just going to be like, peace. So we're just going to get Mazdamundi out of there. All three Great Swords are over here trying to deal with some Source Warriors, so I'm going to throw our Feral Bastillodons into the Great Swords, which is like their that's where they want to be. They are, you know, anti-infantry armor piercing, and I'm going to get Mazdamundi over here, and we're just all going to have a great monster mash around these great swords. Again, the Chameleon Skinks are going to peel one off over here to try and harass these units. This Horus Warrior, which was freed up, these two right here from killing the Spearmen back here. One, I'm going to send in here to try and intercept the Halberds, because the Halberds are trying to get onto Lord Mazdamundi. And then the other one, I'm just going to be like, well, let's just go through here and try and harass this handgunner, because the handgunner can do a lot of damage. You can see here on our Pharaoh Basilodon. Not entirely sure whether they're not targeting Mazdamundi. Maybe because they saw how low the Pharaoh Basilodon was, so they're just trying to kill off one of our dinos. That's probably what's going on. But yeah, the three dinos here are just having a field day on these great swords, and the Halberds wanted to really try and stop us, but again, we intercepted them with the Horus Warriors. Chameleon Skinks here are going to be chased by a Spearman, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And I think I was too busy marking other things. I probably should leave them off of fire at will mode, because they were kind of wasting ammunition on the Spearman. Although it is poisoning them, so it is kind of slowing them down a little bit, I guess, but I don't know. Anyway, this one's going to go after the handguns along with the Horus Warrior. The other one is just actually going to peel back off here. And I'm going to get back into the battle onto these Halberds and Sterling's Revenge. Going to drop our second banishment here for Mazdamundi, which will do okay damage against the swordsmen because they're kind of clumped up right there. Meanwhile, over here, the Flashlands and the Horus Warrior have just been kind of trading all day, but the Horus Warriors are going to eke out a victory there. And our Temple Guards and secondary Horus Warrior, this one kind of just got crushed by the Heroes and Boris Todbringer. But the Temple Guards are actually holding pretty well against the double Heroes and Boris, because none of them are armor piercing focused, really. They do have a lot of armor piercing because they are still Heroes and Lords, but they don't have as much as like a lot of other ones do. Meanwhile, we're going to drop another shield of the old ones here, giving us the damage resistance and the leadership buff to all the units fighting underneath it, including, I believe, the Temple Guards should be under here. No, they're not, actually. Oh, alright. Anyway, these units were, so we're going to use that to help clean up the rest of the great swords, and the spearmen that were over here, along with the swordsmen I've already routed over there. I'm going to harass these retreating troops with our Chameleon Skinks. Again, the other Chameleon Skink outran the spearmen, probably because of help with the poison, maybe. And now we're on to the handgunners. I'm just going to keep pressure on these, because I do not want them going back in here and shooting at our dinos, and that is actually going to be the end of the game. You ran a Pharaoh Basilodon back in there. We're going to run the other one over into here and try and finish up the Heroes and Boris Todbringer. That was an odd fight because the opponent didn't bring any magic, which I don't bring magic every time. I sometimes forego it too. I'm like, you know what, let's just not have a magic game. So I can understand that. The cannon positioning was odd. I'm thinking that they thought their Empire captains could help stop my front line from advancing long enough for maybe like the great swords to get in front of the cannons or something. But yeah, I ran past the Empire captains and I ran right into their cannons, and their cannons were doing excellent damage. Like, they brought the Pharaoh Basilodon down to I think half before I even got to them, and they got a couple hits on Mazdamundi as well. So I'm not entirely sure why they put their great cannon positioning there. If they had put them more into the back, it would have been, I mean, they probably would have eventually been killed by my Chameleon Skinks, but they didn't know I had Chameleon Skinks at that point. And that would have been a safer position for the poor cannons, because if they were online for just another minute or so before my Chameleon Skinks got there, they could have at least downed a Pharaoh Basilodon and done some decent damage to Mazdamundi as well. But yeah, I like this because you never see Empire captains. I didn't like it because you never see Great Cannons put in the front of the front of the position of the army there, because, you know, they're kind of slow and they you know, they need protected. So that was an odd choice, I think. Odd choice. Great swords against lizardmen, I don't think it's a bad choice necessarily, as long as you can stop their dinosaurs, which with this army you could. That's so much AP damage from these two handgunners and Sterling's Revenge along with the great cannons. I like the grenade launcher. If I didn't have the Pterodon Rider, then this probably could have done a ton of damage to my Horus Warrior line as well. Again, I like seeing the Empire captains because you never see them, but the thing is, they don't really bring anything to the table. All they really are is a leadership platform for very cheap, and they have okay damage, like very okay damage. They're on the very like low tier of melee heroes. Boris Todbringer is pretty solid, but you typically want to bring him on his mount. It was very odd to see him unmounted, but again, maybe they just really wanted to try something. I don't know if they're worried about anti-large. Maybe they're worried about like Krokar on his dinosaur, which can snipe, you know, large targets pretty easily. So maybe that's what they're worried about, so they make it harder for him. But, you know, that ended up not bringing him. But yeah, I kind of like the army build here against Lizardmen. The problem is where the cannons are placed, and Boris Todbringer not being on any kind of mount. And then listen, I love the Empire Captain. I I can't even really hate on this because you never see these, so I was just glad to see them. Because I mean, like, look at these things. Hold on, they suck. So like for a paladin here, for 859, you can get a unit that has bodyguard that also has deadly onslaught. They don't really have any amazing items, but they come with bodyguard, they come with deadly onslaught, which is okay. But the thing is, they also come with a bonus versus large, which is pretty sweet, for 859 base. And they also have access to a flying mount if you want one, or even just a barded warhorse, right? And then you got the Empire Captain over here, which with nothing on them is like 580, I think. Or, oh, sorry, 425 if you don't bring Foe Seeker. 505 if you do bring that. But, like, I would at least bring Hold the Line, because it's kind of their only cool ability. It grants 5 melee defense and leadership around their unit. I guess you can maybe take off Foe Seeker. So you go 500. I mean, I guess like, for 500 for a thing that's also buffing melee and leadership, and on top of that with the Encourage, it's not bad, I guess. But the thing is, like, I find a paladin just so much better. Yeah, they are more expensive, but they have a bonus versus large, and they have bodyguard. Which bodyguard is such a more useful tool than whatever this is. But still, I mean, I guess in theory, if you do take that off, you're looking at 425 for an encouraging platform that has, I guess, decent stats, really. 50, 40, and 375. A 40 charge bonus off the horse? Huh. Now I'm sitting there coming around like, huh. Still, I would prefer them to at least have either armor-piercing damage focus or a bonus versus large like the paladins do. Huh. I'm just not thinking. You just proc that on there. Extra melee defense and leadership as well for 500. I mean, I guess that's not the worst thing in the world. It's just like in the ladder, you can only bring 2 heroes. And I guess that's why these guys are never played, because why would you bring an Empire Captain when you can either bring like a Witch Hunter to try and snipe heroes with the accusation, bring a Warrior Priest for all of their utility with the bonus versus or melee attack, their damage resistance, their soul fire, this thing against especially like vampire counts can work really well, and then on top of that they also grant leadership bonuses, and they can buff your troops. I mean, they do cost more, obviously, because they have all these cool abilities. And then, of course, you have to bring a caster, right? If you don't bring Geld as the Lord. So, you got to bring a caster almost every single time. So, that's one of your choices. It's like, what do you do? Where do you go from there? Do you bring an Empire Captain? Or do you bring, like, a Warrior Priest or someone who can accuse enemy heroes and lords, you know? Huh. Anyway, so I'm just kind of thinking and rambling on here. Let's go watch a cinematic view of the battle. Frog Prince himself. Oh, hey! Look at this! I've never noticed this just like random... Is this a gillet? I can't remember what these hanging cages are called. There's just a random hanging cage in this forest. What? Hold on, is there like anything special? Like any words or anything? I've never noticed this. Is that Bob? Bob, is that you in there, Bob? That's where you've been all these... Oh, man, I wondered where you went to. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't move, like, the swordsman in front of these, the flagellants quicker, the great swords. I guess maybe they just didn't really care about the cannons. Maybe they just wanted to try and draw me into them. So, like, I don't know. But here's those Empire Captains. And there's me walking past them. Oh, hey! The grenade launchers did get a round of fire in there. I missed that. And then they get chased off by the pterodons. I love Saurus Warriors. They're just such a cool, good frontline unit. There goes their army chasing Maximundi. There's the Midnight Wind. Main Skinks have obviously arrived. These guys are such little bastards. I hate fighting against Main Skinks. They're so good. The humans were just on a tour for Jurassic Park, and they just got a little too close to the dinos. God, they just have a field day with these great swords. So much screen shaking. That's not me moving the camera up and down, that's just the dinos. That's all from the dinos. Dinos are so strong they can make a camera move. Oh, look at him just get torn to bits from that banishment. Run, humans! And these halberds do not want to go and fight Source Warriors, that's for sure. And then meanwhile, where are they? Yeah, there you are. Empire Captain Boris with his beautiful plumage on his helmet there. Just duking it out with some Source Warriors and Temple Guards. And that's gonna do it, everybody. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed some dinos. I will see you all next time. Take care.